The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
All right, welcome to the Nikki Clarke Show live at the Montreal Arts Center, 1844 William Street in the heart of Griffintown. And how is everybody doing? Fantastic, fantastic. It is so worth the drive to Montreal. Montreal is my home away from home, and really so happy to be here. It's a very special evening, and we have a very talented, accomplished people that we're going to be chatting with. So first is a very accomplished woman. She was one of the people behind the fundraising for the Obamas very early, and she's also the wife of U.S. Ambassador Bruce Heyman. Please welcome Vicki Heyman to the stage.
Thank you so much in Montreal. Happy to be in this beautiful Montreal Art Center, and it's great.
Isn't it great?
It's really great. Yeah.
It's a really warm energy when you come in here. Just
beautiful.
Feel like home, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, being here amongst incredible art and artists and this vibe of kind of warm and welcoming, and a great home for the Highwaymen too. So we're thrilled to have a Highwayman exhibition here in Montreal.
Okay, fantastic. Now the value of the collection is not solely on the campus of the Florida Highwaymen, but in the story of the artists, right? So could you tell us more about who the artists are and what brought them to paint such an impressive amount of Florida landscape artwork?
Sure. So the Florida Highwaymen is a collective of 26 African American artists, 25 highwaymen, and one wonderful highwaywoman, Marion Carroll. The collective started painting in the 1950s during a time of segregation, and many of the artists were actually field crop workers working in the citrus fields, making $7 a week, and really tough times for these individuals. And they learned a specific painting style with very modest materials, using wallboard and wood frames, and they created their beautiful Florida primordial landscape paintings, extraordinarily beautiful colorful landscape paintings, taught in a specific style, almost sometimes doing that almost in assembly line style, where artists hung their canvases and they would stay side by side, some painting the background, some painting the foreground. This work could not be sold in galleries because of segregation and discrimination, so they took to actually selling the work out of the back of their car or along the side of the highway or going door to door, hence the name, the Highwaymen. And what was so wonderful about the art was that it not only was it beautiful, but it provided a means of economic security for the people in the community. So instead of $7 a week, they might make $25 for one of the pieces of art they created and sold. So basically, with one sale of one piece of art, they could have really made their wages for a week. So it was a community that was created. They were self-taught and self-mentored, and it's a real wonderful American story of perseverance, resilience, creativity, entrepreneurship that I think really represents, a really beautiful, opportunity, to bring this art from the United States into Canada with many thanks to Tony Hayton, who you'll meet later, and share this great American story here. It's a universal story.
Yeah, we're really privileged to see it here. There's just gorgeous, vivid colors.
Yeah. You walked in, we opened the exhibition in Ottawa in February. And it was cold, snowy Ottawa, February.
We get it.
And you walked into a gallery like this gallery, and your just heart sang with the beauty of the warmth and the color, and Florida. I know Canadians like to go to Florida. So we brought Florida to you in February. Well, we're bringing Florida to you again here in Montreal in May, and you'll see when you walk through the exhibition, it really just lifts your heart and spirits, and you see a landscape that is, vanishing. That's the other thing. This collective has been painting many of the remaining artists. There are only 14 artists that are living in the original 26, and they represented, have been painting over, I guess, almost 7 decades, since the mid-50s, and the landscape they're representing, many of those landscapes are disappearing today. And so you see a pristine place and space and time that is so beautiful
It's
to
captured
preserve.
there.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to preserve.
Let's talk about the highway woman, so to speak.
My favorite highwayman is a
The
woman.
only woman artist. Mary Ann Carroll, she visited Canada in February. Can you share your experience with her?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think, you go through your life and you meet special people that impact you forever. That's Mary Ann Carroll. I mean, she is all that. She's 80 years old. She is obviously has been painting since she was a very young woman. A mom of 7 kids, raised her kids on her own, used her, ingenuity, her creativity, and her moxie to paint with these men and get out on the road and knock on doors that she wasn't really, shouldn't have been in, neighborhoods she shouldn't have been allowed to be. Sometimes bringing her kids along in the car.
It takes a lot of courage.
Selling the work out of her car. She is a pastor in her church. She's a poet. She plays piano. She sings. She is an all-in sage. I mean, she lights up a room, and she connects. She's an ageless person. She connects to people of all ages. And while in Ottawa, we took Mary Ann to Carleton University, to the University of Ottawa. The rooms were packed. Art students, artists, historians really wanting to hear and learn from her and her story. And when we opened her exhibition at the Saw Gallery, I am not kidding you, there were people 30 deep after her conversation, really wanting to get to know her on a personal level, because she has so much wisdom to impart. And so we ended, like I guess we're going to end tomorrow night here with a dance party. She was out there with
Everyone
all of
loves a
them.
dance party.
So I will tell you that we're very, very lucky. And Tony, when you speak with him, will tell you some really interesting and fun kind of behind-the-scenes stories of Mary Ann, because he's really best friends with
Big
Mary Ann.
fan.
And it's been all around. It's been all around with Mary Ann.
Wonderful, wonderful. So why is this group still relevant in 2016?
Gosh. Why is it relevant? Because, well, on many levels it's relevant. One is it's a story that captures what we just spoke about earlier. In a difficult time, when it seems though many, many windows and doors are closed, and economic opportunity and personal freedom does not seem like it's available to you, you can find a way to persevere. And I think this is, as we talked about, this is a story that is universal. It applies to the highwaymen and the segregated South. It applies to minorities really anywhere, any place, any time, all around this country, in our country, all around the United States, and the world really, who feel that they're in an oppressed situation and they need to find a path out. I think the exhibition is important because I think art and the artist's voice is a connector and a healer. And it brings together people of all different backgrounds, really as a magnet, to talk about issues of borderless importance, issues of identity, issues of race, issues of assimilation, isolation. And I think that this exhibition, entrepreneurship, commerce, creativity, I think this exhibition highlights that. So it's relevant for those reasons. I think it's also relevant, as we talked about with regard to environment, kind of showcasing and capsulizing, vanishing landscapes. For all those reasons, to me, art and the artist's voice, and particularly this exhibition, is it's very important for us, State Department, the United States government, to share these stories and to talk about minority rights and to talk about acceptance and look at that. You want to examine that. Want to look at the shame of the past or the mistakes of the past and what we can learn, and hopefully look forward to a more optimistic future.
So ultimately, what is the message that you'd like these paintings to convey to people here in Montreal?
I'd like to leave you with the thought that for the United States, that highlighting, even as part of our foreign policy, that minority rights are very important to us in our country. They're very important to a whole prosperous and secure world. We want to look at this, we want to examine it, we want to share the stories. African American history is American history. We want to share our stories with you. We want to share the human stories of the highwaymen, the painters. We want to share our own personal stories as how we are reacting to these works. We want to examine the past, and we want to come together collectively. Here in Montreal, in Ottawa, across your country, across ours, kind of reaching across borders, to talk about the past and look for solutions and really create a larger community of people that are like-minded, that want to see the world the same way.
That's wonderful. And can you talk a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we're going to have a big opening here, and the exhibition is going to be launched and open tomorrow night, but will be open for an entire month. So we're going to celebrate with the opening. I think Tony and I are going to have a little conversation tomorrow night with some of our guests, and some great music. There will be a number of people invited who are part of the community, the Montreal Art Center community, artists, thought leaders, business people, politicians, fun people from the neighborhood. So it's going to be a mixture of all kinds of people that'll celebrate the opening. And then the idea is really to get the word out. So it'll be the launch, so that I hope everybody that comes tomorrow night will bring back 10 friends at least, so that we can keep the exhibition really vibrant and as many people as possible see it. We're going to be partnering with a number of organizations in the neighborhood, school organizations as well, and really making a great effort to reach out to the Montreal arts community and community at large to bring them in and share the story. And I think really that's the purpose of doing this, is to expand our community and to bring people together in this really, I think, really magical and warm way. Not necessarily only around policy or discussing necessarily like, the great issues, but to come in a soft and welcoming way to examine through art, a path ahead.
Absolutely. And that's the way I look at Montreal Art Center. It's really a community hub. Mm-hmm. and it's a place where a conversation can start on any topic.
Yeah, I think those partnerships are so key, and that's what we've done really as part of our cultural outreach, is to establish partners in each of the cities that we have consulates, working partners on the ground, Canadian partners, to help with us to come collaboratively to share these kinds of exhibitions and stories, whether it's performing arts or visual arts or film. It gives us an opportunity to really come together around what connects us.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to thank you very much for being here and sharing your pearls of wisdom with us. And if people want to connect with you or with the U.S. Embassy, how would they be able to do that?
Well, you can connect with me at VSHEY on Facebook and on Twitter. And I really would love to hear from you and hear your ideas and your thoughts as we kind of have our exploration today. And the U.S. Embassy as well. You can reach the U.S. Embassy and the consulate here in Montreal on Facebook and on Twitter too. So it's really great to have this kind of digital conversation. And we have been doing that since we've been here. We've been using this really as a platform to talk really to the public at large through some of these gatherings where we can't all actually be in the same room, but we can kind of virtually have these conversations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's really a pleasure.
I love to last past Saturday night, and I wanna know it's more than love at first sight. I want a Sunday kind of love. Oh, yeah. I love this on the square, not a top. Can't seem to find someone who cares. And I'm on that lonely road that leads you to nowhere. I want a Sunday kind of love. I do my Sunday dreaming, and oh, my Sunday scheming, every minute, every hour of every day. Well, I'm hoping through this certain kind of lover who will show me the way in my arms. Need someone to hold and keep me warm when Mondays, Tuesdays, when they grow cold. Love for all my life to have and to hold. I want a Sunday kind of love. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't want a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, no Saturday, no nothing but Monday, no. I want a Sunday. I want a Sunday kind of love. Oh, a Sunday kind of Thank you. Do I dash now? Okay. Oh. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm ready for the next. This is something I think by the Temptations.
Yeah.
I don't think we did. It's not my girl.
We did my girl.
It's, is everybody fiddling around down there? Or?
Just your wife.
Oh. Thank you. So bright, you know you could have been a candle. I'm holding you so tight. You know you could have been a handle. The way you swept me off my feet. You know you could have been a broom. The way you smell so sweet. You know you could have been some perfume. Well, you could have been anything that you wanted to, and I can tell the way you do the things you do. Oh, baby, as pretty as you are, you really could have been a flower. If good looks caused a minute, girl, you could be an hour. The way you stole my heart, you know you could have been a cool book. And baby, you're so smart. You know you could have been a cool book, school book. You could have been anything that you wanted to, and I can tell the way you do the things you do, baby. Ho! Now you're messing me up now. You made my life so rich. You know you could have been some money. Baby, you're so sweet. You know you could have been some honey. Well, you could have been anything that you wanted to, and I can tell the way you do the things you do. You really swept me off my feet. You made my life complete. You made me feel all right every day and every night. You. That's the way.
Oh, Allan has
Oh, you're still carrying this?
What's that?
That is Skipper Dean and the Fabulous Fascination. Circa 1964. Now, I
Or earlier.
anybody in this room to not pick out the best looking guy in the band. Okay? Let's see who you pick out. Okay? Mrs. Heyman, pick out.
Oh my goodness.
Is that not the best of you?
I thought you said she should pick it out.
Well, you know,
This is
part of
awesome.
my controlling personality.
He's not lying.
Yeah, can you decide? Absolutely.
I'm gonna go for the one in the middle.
Oh, wow!
He's got the best hairstyle.
You're my favorite. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Clarke Show. We just had a wonderful performance by Skipper Dean, fantastic Canadian talent. And sitting beside me is another amazing Canadian talent. He is an environmentalist and also an art collector. Please welcome Tony Hayton to the show.
You know, listening to Skipper Dean like that, and I'm thinking, that's a tough act to follow.
It sure is.
And then I'm thinking, but Allan had to follow that act all his life.
All his life. 50 years. Oh, we're going to get to Allan after. We'll talk about that. But I'm really happy that you're here.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I really owe a debt of gratitude to, well, not only you for coming to Montreal from Toronto, which is
My
I know
pleasure.
It's a bit of a hike.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Heyman here and the American Embassy
Absolutely.
have really kind of restored my faith into something that I've been trying to do for a long time, which was to get these artists, the Highwayman artists, known in their own country. So, you know, when you want to get known in your own country, you go to another country.
That's how it is sometimes. Yeah, I understand that. I understand
Absolutely.
that. So tell me a little bit about your background leading up to where you are right now with the connection with the Florida Highwaymen. Environmentalist.
Well,
Where did that start?
Okay, so really that began when I was in university because I studied to be an agriculturalist, a horticulturalist. So I always had an affinity to the land, and I grew up during that kind of socially aware times of the 60s and the 70s. You know, there was
A lot of change happening. Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of change, and you know, even some of this, what we're talking about, the Highwaymen, goes back to years in my youth when I used to watch news reports from the U.S., the evening news reports, and I'd see demonstrations in Alabama and Mississippi, civil rights movements. And so that, you know, that affected me as a young guy growing up in Canada. You know, being white and being so far removed from that, it was really hard to understand what that was all about. Ironically, you know, 40 years later, I get involved with a group of artists that were painting at that time and were making their own civil rights statement in terms of the works that they were doing back then. They didn't really realize that they were part of a civil rights
What impact that they were going to create.
Exactly. But for me, I guess what happened was I always had a kind of an attachment to nature and to land, and I had always liked art as well. So it was kind of ironic. I was looking for a Florida landscape painting on the internet, thinking, gosh, there's got to be some...
When did this happen?
Oh, about 2000 it was.
Okay.
And I saw this painting on the internet that jumped right out at me. It was a Florida scene. It was a beach and waves crashing on a shore and clouds billowing in the sky, and I kind of almost felt like I was in the painting, right? Because it was so idyllic. And it said it was a Florida Highwayman painting, and I'm kind of going, what's that?
Sounds exciting.
Well, yeah, but you know, I had a curious mind, and so I go, okay, what's a Florida Highwayman? And like Vicki had said, it's a group of 26 African American artists that all came from one place at one time, and they were doing it at a time of racial inequality and segregation, and the kind of an oppressed scenario that they had to overcome. That they painted on wallboard, you know, like gypsum board, but a different type of wallboard they used in the South.
So not typical paint type of materials?
No.
Okay.
because they were trying to keep the cost of
Down.
their production down. And of course, they were basically self-taught, so they were teaching each other how to paint. They were learning as they went. They were doing this not thinking that they were going to be painting still 60 years later, which is pretty amazing too. But you know, Skipper Dean, he's been performing for a number of years himself, not that long, I know. He's just a young guy. Something like that really began to resonate with me, and I thought, okay, so this is like 26 African-American artists painting wild scenes, when I say wild, landscapes of a wild or untamed part of Florida. And I thought, geez, that's just like the group of 7, except it's not 7 guys painting the wilds of Canada. It's the reverse. It's 26 African Americans painting the wilds of Florida. And with the background and the story, how they were doing it at kind of under oppressed times and using wall boards and construction materials as their canvases, I'm going, this story is way better than that. This is fantastic. So I got instantly hooked.
Right.
And then I bought 35 paintings that I sight unseen. And then the rest is history. I got involved in a big way. And then I was buying and selling the art for a while. And then one day I stopped and I'm going, what the heck am I doing as a Canadian? Getting involved in this art. I don't want to bring it across the border. I think it's historically and culturally important in the States. And I go, why am I doing this? And then I realized that even though these artists were known in Florida, nobody was appreciating them or understanding them in other parts of the United States. And I thought, you know, this is really a beautiful, romantic story that needs to be brought out to the rest of the states and the rest of America.
Rest of the world.
That too, you know, like in my mind, they've painted now for 60 years or so. They've created 200,000 pieces of work.
Wow.
They truly are an art movement, and yet nobody knows they are. You know, so I became impassioned that my kind of agenda, while it was on my watch, was to get these artists known.
Okay. Of the artists that you've met and you've had experiences with, who resonates with you the most?
Well, you know, these people are all very sweet. They're all very humanistic, and they're very personable because they've had to represent themselves to people they don't know, and do something that wasn't easy, going door to door and introducing themselves and trying to make a living that way.
And what was the average, I guess, someone buying one of their paintings back in the day, how much would that be?
Back in the day, they would be like $25 to buy a painting, $25, $35. But they were part of a perfect storm in that at that era, that time in Florida, in the South, air conditioning had just been invented. The space age had just begun. The space race was on. There was all these people flocking to Florida, building new homes. So while they were creating their works, the construction workers were building new homes and hotels and offices for those paintings to be hung on those walls. So it was kind of a magical combination. Like I say now, in retrospect, that, you know, that these artists in today's world would not get that same kind of notoriety, or their story wouldn't be so poignant, just because the society now is different, the way things are done differently, the media is different. So they were just a perfect kind of story for a magical time.
Absolutely. When did your connection happen with the U.S. Embassy? When did you get involved?
Oh gosh, well, that was really unique too. Here it is, it's early May, but it's not 2016, it's 2015. It's a year ago.
A year ago, okay.
I had been trying to get these artists known in the States for all this time. I came back from Washington. I had wanted to sell the art and get out of the art because I felt that I had lost my direction wasn't doing anything. Through Kismet or what have you, I got connected to the U.S. Embassy through a friend. They heard my story, and here we are today.
That's amazing.
So without them,
yeah, the power of connections. And what's it been like?
it's been exciting. I'm trying to keep my hat on.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I kind of pinch myself all the time. It's great because my wish was to get the art seen and the story told, and that's what's happening.
Now, clarify if you know if this is true or not. Michelle Obama saw the paintings and endorsed
Well,
them?
yeah, actually, Marianne Carroll, the only lady artist, was invited to the First Lady's luncheon 5 years ago. And I picked her up at the airport in Washington and her daughter, and I took her over to some of the sites in Washington. Vicki, you know them, they're beautiful. And I said to Marianne, I said, Marianne, did you ever in your life think that you would meet a First Lady in the United States? And excuse me, I'm going to say, she said, no. and then I said, and did you ever in your life ever dream that that lady would be African American?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then she met her the next day, which was
Fantastic.
great. So that, for me, may be one of the most moving moments, if not the most moving moment, because it's the poignancy of it.
Everything came full circle.
Yeah, it was great.
It is.
Wonderful.
How do you feel, the connection made with Allan Diamond and the Montreal Arts Center?
I love it.
Yeah.
Montreal, love you.
Yeah, awesome. So a great home for about a month. That's how long the exhibit's going to be.
Absolutely.
And then where? Where you go from there?
Well, the future we don't know. The road of the highwaymen is still not finished.
Yes.
So we would like to see the art travel some more in Canada, hopefully. We're just trying to make it connect. We'd like to get the art back to the States where it should be seen and appreciated too.
Absolutely.
We really love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying all this great stuff.
No, this is amazing. And my own connection with Black history, I really feel this is important for people to understand what happened. And it's a very proud moment for African Canadians as well, for this to be available to us. So I want people to know a lot more about it. And where can people connect with you?
Oh gosh, well, I'm not that easy to get a hold of.
Oh, you're not?
I shouldn't say that, it's not difficult. I guess my best place would be on my internet. I'm trying to remember what my Twitter handle is, but I just changed it a little while ago. So it's Anthony_Hayton at yahoo.com, and there's no H in Hayton. So I owe a debt of gratitude to the United States Embassy and to yourself.
Thank you.
And to all you people here. Thank you.
And Mr. Allan Diamond. Well, we want to thank you for everything you've done to, propel these beautiful images and to give a voice and a face to artists who've worked so hard and weren't, given the kudos that they deserve. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. It's a story that needs to be told.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks a lot. Tony Hayton, everyone. We'll be back. Everyone, please welcome Allan Diamond, the owner of the Montreal Arts Center, the champion of the arts, the artist in his own right.
It's great to see you again, Nikki.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see you.
I'm getting confused between the Nickies and the Vickies.
The Nikki and the Vickies, it's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad at you.
No, it's okay. I have many senior moments, usually several in them. But that's okay.
That's okay. So tell me about this exciting exhibit that's coming on, and why did you want it here?
Well, it's amazing. I was talking with Joan Sinclair from the Council. She's asking me about why it's important for me to have it here, and I was telling her, and she says, that's very interesting, and you should be talking about that. And it's true. I met Terry Lindor across the street, my neighbor, from Remax Griffintown, and we talked about this opportunity for us to hold this event here. And I knew right away that this is the right place for it, because the connection is really interesting. The whole Highwayman story is a story about people that had the perseverance and the initiative to do something that at that time was like really outrageous. And they, as Tony was explaining, they went against all the odds and made this happen. And only today, after so many years, fortunately, the ones that are still alive are benefiting from it. But it took a long time and a lot of effort, and it reminded me of the Griffintown district of Montreal. And the story about this neighborhood is just as fascinating as the story of the Highwaymen, and that connection is very relevant. The Industrial Revolution of Canada started in this area. For 150 years, it was the pulse of this city. People came from Scotland, the McGills and Allan, and some of the Dow had the big brewery down the street, and Redpath, and the sugar refineries. And these guys came from a very faraway place, and against all odds, they built huge businesses here in this community. And it's also that this area, with the neighboring areas of Fort St. Charles, Little Burgundy, and St. Henry, was and still is to a great extent what the black community in Montreal was. So
some of the original black churches.
Absolutely. Oh, Anthony's here from the Union United Church, which is a very important church in this neighborhood, which started in, I believe, 1909, was it? And so there's a lot of history about this district, and that's why it's very important that we connect with the story of the Highwaymen. And the reason we opened this art center was to give the opportunity to artists in Montreal to have a home and to be able to show their works and be in a center where they had the opportunity not only to have galleries to show. When you talk, Tony talks about the story of these Highwaymen were getting kicked out of every gallery they tried to come in to sell their paintings to. It was unheard of. So that's why they were selling them out of the back of the car. They had no place to show it. Even in today's world, it's very difficult for unknown artists, emerging and new artists to sell their work. As good as they are, it doesn't mean much if you're good. Unfortunately, artists, most of them don't know how to market themselves. They could be as talented as they can be, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's no difference than in show business. How many Madonnas are there? How many Lady Gagas are there? How many Justin Biebers are there?
So they have the talent, but they have the business sense, is what you're saying.
Well, you have to have that special magic to cross over and be able to make it happen for yourself, and it's not easy. You know, these shows that started in the 80s, the first one was Star Search, and then you got into American Idol, and then you had The Voice. Those shows have made stars. You got Sam Smith, you had Jennifer Hudson, you have several others. I'm trying to remember. And they happened because they took people that were talented people and gave them the opportunity to have a stage, to have a presence. And, you know, I kid around and I tell everybody my favorite line is, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And in life, that's very important. And these artists, they don't know people, as the Florida Highwaymen didn't know people. So we take this building here, this historic building. The man who founded this building and built it in 1875, he was one of these guys that came from Scotland. His name was John McDougall, and he built the Caledonian Iron Works factory here. The boiler shop was across the street. He was the largest employer in this district of Montreal. He had 300 employees, and they built the rolling stock for the Grand Trunk Railroad and the Lachine Canal, the locks for the Lachine Canal. And there's a lot of history here, and history is what this exhibition is all about. And I'm just very excited to have it here. It was an important thing for us to be able to have, and I thank everybody that's been working for the last 2 months, our staff and the wonderful ladies from the consulate. This would not have happened without Joan and Nick and Allison. It's just been amazing, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done to help our people here, and Farah and our team, and I don't think Elisa's here because she's getting ready to go back to Germany. But, yeah, it's great, and I'm excited about it.
What about tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of people. The exhibition is all hung. Mariana Stabile did a wonderful job on curating it, and I don't know if she's still here, but she's done a fantastic job, and it's always a last-minute thing. It takes so much time to put things together, but it's great, and I think we have it staged in such a way that it'll be fun. People will be able to see the film. The film that is being shown is a wonderful story that was produced, I think, some time ago, but it tells the whole story about the highwaymen. It's a wonderful story, yeah.
Okay. Where are the pieces located?
The ground floor of the building has the entire collection, and then we have portraits that are of the artist that was commissioned in Ottawa. Peter Schmelder did a wonderful job on the portraits of the 26 artists, and they're downstairs in our room. And we also then have on the second floor a stage, and then we have up here for where our speeches will be made.
This is fantastic. I'm really, really happy for you. I know it's been a lot of work, but it's so
it's worthwhile. We're very pleased with how it's coming along, and I have to thank everybody that's been here, and especially to thank you, Heyman. It's fantastic for you to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much, Allan Diamond.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show live at the Montreal Art Center, 1844 William Street. And this beautiful woman sitting beside me is the founder of African Fashion Week Montreal. Please welcome Kama Saint-Just to the show. Oh, wonderful. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You look beautiful as ever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
Thank you so much. I'll try. You know how we do. So tell me a little bit about your background leading up to this amazing fashion extravaganza in Montreal.
Well, I'm from Congo, RDC. I moved here with my parents. My father was a diplomat. We moved to Ontario, Ottawa. Basically, I love fashion. I love everything about fashion.
Did you
my
model?
mom, I did a long, long time ago. But,
I can see that.
Thanks. And my mom's a seamstress. My grandfather was into fashion as well. My uncle is a designer as well. So I've always had this like fashion background, I guess. So
A lot of influence around.
a lot of influence around me. And yeah, I was growing up, and I started working in different stores. I was a salesperson, and I really enjoyed it. My customers really, really liked coming to me because they were always saying that I had a way to encourage them at the end. Whenever they were looking for something, like, you know, you sometimes go in a store and you're looking for a garment or an outfit, and the salesperson's just going to want to sell you anything.
That looks awesome on you.
Thank you.
It's 2 sizes too small or something.
Yeah, so they're always like that, and basically I wasn't like that with my clients. I took the time to really tell them what the color that was nice on them, how the clothes would fit on them, and they were always happy about that. So that's how I realized that fashion was my thing.
So that means you also had a discriminating eye. You had an eye
Yes.
for color and for
Yes.
style.
Yes,
And that.
I did at a very young age. My family is really surprised about that.
So when did this start, African Fashion Week Montreal?
Well, Africa Fashion Week Montreal started last year. Last year was the first event. I wasn't thinking about creating that type of show. It just happened. I didn't even know. There's several Africa Fashion Weeks around the world. It started in the United States. And so it just went on to Europe, Africa as well. And
There's one in Toronto too. In
yeah,
August.
there's one in Toronto as well. And Montreal didn't have any, and so I basically decided to do it here. Yeah, so the first year was at Théâtre Paradoxe. It was in June, and we had some designers from the States. We had Cordo Momolu. She's a designer who was in Project Runway, so she was there as well. We had designers from Toronto. We had designers from Ottawa as well, and designers from Montreal. Basically, what we do is that we promote emergent designers as much as known designers. When we say known designers, we're not really talking about the well-known ones. We're talking about the ones that people do talk about, but they don't really know.
Right.
So
on a broad scale.
On a broad scale. So we basically just promote them. Okay. Throughout the year after the show, we keep on promoting them. We also, if ever we hear about something, an event or a contest or whatever that has to do with where we can send those designers to, we basically just contact them. We had actually one of the designers who showcased her designs last year, Comfort Bonsu, yes, from Uzu
yes.
Creation.
Yes, and I have one of her necklaces. Beautiful.
Yes, so she's really talented, and so there was this Le Chateau was looking for a new designer basically.
Le Chateau.
Yes, and I heard about it and I contacted her and I said, well, go. I think you should go. It's a good thing. You never know. And she's one of the 10 designers who has been in this project. And basically, right now, her jewelry is being sold there. So it's an amazing thing. She's really happy for that.
And she's young. She's in her early 20s.
Yeah, she's in her early 20s.
What a fantastic opportunity through you.
Yes, so
through your guidance.
Yeah, she was really happy about that, and it makes me happy because I'm able to help someone else. Which is what basically our motto is at Africa Fashion Week.
Beautiful. Yeah. So where is it going to be this year, and what time frame?
This year, the show will be at, it's in an art gallery. It's Galerie MX. It's downtown Montreal. It's going to be held on June 17 and 18 as well. The show will be starting at 8 o'clock.
Okay. And where can people get the tickets?
Well, they can get the tickets. They can basically get them on our Facebook page. They can also get it through our website, which is afwmontreal.com. And they can also contact us directly. We have a delivery service, so for anybody who's interested, go ahead and contact us, and we'll send you someone to bring you the tickets.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
How about using this space next year?
Well, that's a good thing, because I was here, I was listening to the owner speaking, and I was like, wow. Had I known about this place, it would have been a good thing.
Well, I'm really excited to be one of the media sponsors for the event. I had a great time last year. The brilliance in the room was just very heartwarming for me to see so many young people with amazing ideas, and just you being there to create this platform for them. It's wonderful. So thank you. I completely support it and looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to having you too as well, and we're really happy to have you there last year.
It's my pleasure. All right. Well, thank you again. Candace, introduce everybody. Thank you for coming. We'll be back.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience, or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.nikkiclarkenetwork.com.